comes. So, oh yes, non-duality. Anything that ever spoken about non-duality isn't it. Any speaker that you admire, any teacher that you look up to, anybody that speaks about non-duality isn't speaking about non-duality. They're speaking in duality, or they're using language in duality. You can never ever speak about non-duality. So what does that mean? Fuck all, because nothing means anything. There's nothing that means anything. Every word that was ever invented is a sound which humans put meaning on in order to communicate, and then they think that they're actually communicating about something. But all of this is meaningless. None of it has any meaning at all. The word computer doesn't really mean this box in front of us that's humming. Lisa speaking into the camera doesn't mean anything, and me hearing it doesn't mean anything. It's all an interpretation used to communicate, which isn't wrong or right. But what's happened for the human being is the communication, the words have become more important and more real than what's actually happening. The description that's a lie, that's never it, that's just sounds with meaning, with apparent meaning, has become more real than this. So, and words are always in opposite and always in two-ness. You're always comparing. So to know light, there has to be dark. To know me, there has to be you. Words are always in comparison. So they always give an appearance of two-ness, of duality. But this isn't a dualistic world. This is one energy expressing itself, being creative, but it's oneness expressing. When the conceptual reality begins to crumble, and that one that's claiming the conceptual reality begins to crumble, then what is left. This, which is not two. You can never see it, oneness, yet it is it. Because if you saw it, then there would be an outside of it. And there's no outside, there's no inside either. It's all it. Isn't that so exciting? Hey Julian, I can't hear you at the moment. I'm just in the middle of an introduction, and I will start speaking to you as soon as I finish the introduction. But we can't hear you. I can't hear you. I've put you on silent. So, nothing that anybody ever says is actually talking about non-duality. It can't. It's in words which are in opposites and give the appearance of duality, of two-ness. But there is no two-ness. There is no two-ness. So all non-duality is trying to point back to is what's actually happening, what is. And that might seem confusing because the person is looking at words to understand, and this has got nothing to do with words. A lot of speakers that speak about non-duality are very intelligent. There's a lot, funny enough, that had been to like Oxford and Cambridge, Harvard, all the really good schools in the world, and are really great thinkers, and they make non-duality sound intelligent, which isn't a bad or wrong thing, and gives the appearance that you can think your way into this, which you can't at all. This has got nothing to do with you understanding it. This is it, baby. This, and the answer is this. The answer is your nature, but the answer isn't in time. and it's not in thought. So what's left? Then the mind tries to think about that. What's left? What's left? What's left? And it can't think about it. Cannot think about it. It is, though. This is so exciting, this subject. Isn't that amazing? All that struggle in the intellect, and what you're looking for is beyond the intellect. You don't have to learn anymore. You don't have to be clever anymore. You don't have to understand to get. You don't have to do anything to get. It is the nature of everything. This is absolute freedom, and everything is free. Everything is nothing. It's free. Even beyond that word, that silly little word of free. Isn't this fucking awesome? So as soon as you speak about non-duality, you fuck it up. So all those speakers that you bow down to and you put your hands on their toes, that you think are up there, are bullshitters, including Lisa. All of us are bullshitters. None of us can speak about it. And we argue, our teacher knows best, no, our teacher knows best, no, our teacher knows best, no, our teacher knows best, and none of them do. None of them do, because none of them can put it into words. Well, my teacher's better, it does a better job at pointing, it does a more accurate job at pointing. My teacher's best, my teacher's best. This is it, baby. This is the freedom. This that's beyond the words, beyond this. It's the sound, not the meaning. You're lost in meaning. You are lost in meaning and time. What this means to me. Let me tell you, Lisa, my awakening story. I don't believe you. Let me tell you who I am. I don't believe you. Let me tell you my problems. I don't believe you. You're playing. You're not somebody found in words. You don't have problems. You're not a body. You're not something found in time. I don't believe you. No, but Lisa, I have to tell you my problem. What problem? You don't even know who you are, so how can you have a problem? And the answer isn't finding out who you are. The answer is the dissolving of the one you think you are. And then it's, what the fuck? Mystery. Free fall. So now we do a talk. People try to tell me who they are, how enlightened they are, or how unenlightened they are, what they know, what they don't know. And Lisa sits there and she goes, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Come on, stop playing. You're not this, you're not that. You're not this, you're not that. You could have a song about it. Then they get angry at Lisa. Validate me. Let's talk about saving the world. Validate me. Believe me, I have a problem. Believe me, I have a problem. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Okay, that's it. That's the introduction. And everything Lisa said is bullshit. Bullshit. Nothing has meaning. Nothing has meaning. Nothing has meaning. Nothing. Nothing. She's crazy, yes. Hey, Julianne.
Hey, Lisa.
Sorry to just mute you, but I was on a roll.
No, it's cool. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm enlightened. How are you? Well, how's the body, mind? How's Lisa?
The body mind is very well. Very well.
What was I gonna say? I was talking to Laurent the other day.
Yeah. You're a French speaker?
Yeah.
You're Canadian, are you?
No, I don't know what I am, but I guess you can say that I'm American and French.
Oh, okay.
But
Not
we
Canadian.
spoke in French. It was cool. But I'm like, I guess you could say there was a falling away.
Yeah.
Of labeling.
Yeah.
Because he was talking to me and he was like, I was looking at my iPad and he was like, okay, what are you looking at right now? And I was like, I'm looking at my iPad. And then he told me to describe it. I was like, oh, it's black, it's got a glass screen, and I was just giving all these descriptions, and then he was like, okay, now what is in front of you if you take away all of those labels? And I was just like, there's just what's there. There's just what's happening, I guess. And then there's this realization that when thought comes in, the problem arises. There's no problem prior to thought.
Yeah. And the thought becomes an energetical thing. Like, it becomes not just an empty thought. If it was an empty thought, it really wouldn't mean anything. But it becomes with all these energies as well. And the problem is it's taken as serious. There's nothing wrong with thought as a way to help book tickets or doing the taxes or practical. But it becomes a reality. It's like what you see isn't what is. What you see is a computer, which is like your interpretation or an interpretation of what's actually happening. And when you see a computer or a iPad, then there's a you there seeing it, and the separation becomes like an energetical thing. Yeah. Like, there's the computer, there's me.
And there's never a problem. There's only a problem when thought is believed, when you actually believe that there is someone there to help or there is something to do. There's nothing to do. It's thought. Yeah. It's the function of thought coming in.
But there's not a you there that could believe it or not. Either the thought comes up with belief or without belief. It comes up with an energy of this is true or not. Right. There's not someone that could not believe it. That would just be another thought. But it's a movement of energy, and it either stops coming up with importance and with truth, and sometimes, and a lot of the time, it's not coming up with importance and truth, like this is the way things are.
Well, but that's the thing, though. There's no one there to believe the thought.
Yeah.
But I guess there's the recognition that the thoughts are coming, but there's no value in the thoughts to be something.
They're not actually describing anything. So when you think you've got a problem, it's not really describing something. Firstly, who would that you be? And secondly, it's an interpretation of a sensation, and then putting it into and then an interpretation into thought about it, which has no truth, but it's happened seemingly for so many years. It's created a weight and a momentum to it. Just like it's so impersonal though. Just like a tree has the energy and the momentum to grow upwards, so does this energy to produce thoughts, and this personal energy with these thoughts that these are true and these are mine. If you see what I mean, it's just a momentum that seemingly has taken over, but so impersonal. It's no different from the way the tree grows towards the light. It's just a functioning happening that's not really happening at the same time. I mean, everything I say about it is untrue.
So it's seemingly thought is trying to, I don't know, understand itself?
No, it's just no, not at all. It's just an impersonal mechanism which gives an appearance of personal that's got carried away. I suspect the way that it started was just humans began to have the ability to have a complicated way of thinking, so they began to be able to perceive the body and then perceive the body moving in time. Before that, they maybe had no sense of they were a body or there was time. And then when that energy started, it just got carried away. So they described the body had been hunting that day and caught 10 fish, which was a practical thing for survival, to be able to describe things. But then this energy began to take over and this momentum of them in time started. I am a body. I am somebody moving through time. I'm my good actions, my bad actions. And it just took over. And just like a bacteria or cancer can take over and kill the body, so not that it's a bad thing, the me energy or the personal energy, it just got carried away and there was an energetic force to it. But it's so impersonal, just like bacteria, just like the way the tree grows,
happening.
the way a flower grows. It's not good nor bad, it's just happening. What it gives the appearance though is of suffering, because suddenly things become limited. I mean, there's no thing, there's only things in description. And then suddenly when that description takes over and becomes a reality, everything becomes limited and bound, including that energy of me in here and them out there. And so suffering, what I call suffering, begins. There begins to be this limitation onto the original aliveness before the mind began to comprehend the body and time and other things.
So even like these spiritual terms of like enlightenment and, well, I mean, all of the words are bullshit.
Yeah.
But it's like when you talk about something that you're trying to point to, especially with enlightenment and awakening, it's like people think that they have to get to this state.
Yeah, people get very carried away in the thought land about enlightenment.
It's just like, even if you do have an experience of what the experience is only just a recognition of seeing through everything, which is not an experience of like, oh, like I've experienced this and I'm going to experience it from now on. It's just a falling away of something or seeing through
well,
something.
I don't think there's any particular definition. Ramesh Balsekar used to say that liberation wasn't a certified event. It wasn't like something you could go to university for and get a stamp, and there could be. My definition of liberation, which most probably differs so much to other people, is the end of this energetical contraction which is separating out things. So me in here and the world out there, and it's an energetical thing. And then when that changes, what stops arising is this personalization of things, and what is just what is. It's no longer me experiencing the world. But that's really far out. That's the way that Lisa says it, and all these words are going to have completely different meaning to the conditioning and the way other body mind mechanisms are programmed. So I mean, some people might imagine that as something really grand, some people might imagine that as something really naff, some people might be really confused by that description. You really can't talk about anything. It's really hopeless. What can begin to happen though is kind of like a remembering, but it's not a your remembering, and it's a really impersonal thing of what's happening, that it's not separate. But it's not something that you know or you get. It's just the absence of me and world. But that sounds just so far out. I mean, that will have so many different meanings to so many different body mind mechanisms, and it's really got nothing to do with what you think my words mean. It's more of an experience right here, right now. This is it. It's not an experience like a bliss or a positive experience that we can say as joy or happy or anything.
Because it can't just be
it's
one
just
thing.
The absence. What can't?
And that's the I guess the biggest I guess trap you could say is that people are looking for this one event, but how could it just be one event if everything's a constant movement?
You can't. It's not one event. What happens though, and this is just Lisa's description, and it's a really naff description of it, but it might resonate in somebody, my mechanisms, is that the one that's holding on to certain things being you, more you, the one that's trying to hold on to appearances and say, I am my story, I am this body, I am the bad things that have happened to me, I am my house, I am my car, disappears, and then things just move naturally. They just come and go, which you could say is an experience. You could also argue it isn't an experience. It's an experience is in the sense of it's still everything happening. But in another sense, you could say it is an experience because it's not one particular experience. It's like a different, like it's Yeah, it's an absence of something, which you could argue either way is an experience or isn't an experience. I mean, you could say both things. You get people that are more extreme non-dualists and less extreme non-dualists. Some may argue it's not an experience, some say it is an experience, and really it doesn't matter either.
There'd have to be someone there for it to be an experience, or someone experiencing it.
Well, yeah, but you could, but in a way, like that's true. That's one way of arguing it. But in another way, it is a change from something that's holding on to things to the end of that something holding on to things.
Okay.
And then it's just things coming and going, coming and going. And you can argue either side, that's an experience or not experience. It doesn't really matter. You could get stuck in arguing all sorts of things. It's just an absence of something. And we get so carried away because the person can only imagine something. So it imagines liberation as bliss. It imagines liberation as pleasure. It imagines liberation as a certain thing, but you can't see liberation. It's just an absence. And how can you see the absence?
Right.
It's just who would see the absence?
Okay, that somewhat kind of makes sense.
But everything I say or anyone says really screws it up in a way, because it gives the appearance that non-duality can be found in words, which it can't. We cannot find this in words. It's what's actually happening.
Right, because it's only
words.
Yeah, it's just the point.
Which is subjective to each body-mind mechanism and each conditioning as to what they mean. They mean nothing. Nothing. I love this subject. It's the biggest head fuck because you can't find it in words.
You love talking about this.
Yeah, I do.
Because you're just like, just so you know, everything I'm saying is bullshit, but...
You're about bullshit. Bullshit. Yeah.
Something that's really fascinating that you talked about, or you put this up on your blog, Sam Harris, the free will video.
Yeah.
That's just something... most of everything we're talking about is something the mind can't grasp. But when you're talking about the fact that, in a way, everything's predetermined, like your conditioning and all your actions, there's no one controlling it. It's just happening. It's a bunch of mechanisms in your brain that are causing you to do the things you do. But
and it's not even your brain. It's just brain appearing with reactions happening. It's so impersonal. It's just chemicals flying around.
Because it's unsettling, but it's also a relief. Because it's like, if I do something that pisses someone off, it's like,
it's got nothing.
I didn't really do it. It just happened. Sorry. Yeah. But at the same time, you're like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, the body-mind mechanism is always going to be found guilty, but there's nobody actually guilty in the body-mind mechanism. Like the body-mind mechanism, if it treads on a dog or a mouse and kills the mouse or whatever, or runs it over, it will be held guilty. But there's nobody in there that's actually guilty. It's just an impersonal happening, and it's all one movement. It's not. There's no point. It seems like the body ends at some point, but if you were to get a microscope and look deeper and deeper into it, you would never find the edge of the body. It's all one thing happening. The body and the air are one movement.
Everything is one movement.
Yeah.
And then thought comes in and
separates
everything.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Crap. There's a lot of science coming out now talking about free will. And
There's
a recognition that there really isn't, or free will is an illusory thing, and I don't really think people really get what that entails on an intellectual level, because I feel like people will just say, "Oh, we don't have free will." But then that would imply that there is no one choosing.
Yeah. I know, it is really huge, and it's coming out more and more. I was talking to a lawyer recently, and they were saying that the law is beginning to become more difficult because lawyers in court are arguing more and more it was a chemical reaction in the brain.
Yeah.
And the more and more they argue it's a chemical reaction in the brain, the less guilty they can find someone. So now they don't, I think often in England when someone has mental health problems, they don't find them guilty, although the body might have to spend 20 years in a psych ward.
Yeah.
They often don't come away with the stamp guilty. They come away with the stamp that I've forgotten what it's called. Like it's not their
It's the
fault.
same here. It's like if
Yeah.
someone's seen as mentally unstable,
So
they
then,
use that as the cop out, I guess.
but more and more people, the lawyers are arguing this. So they're realizing that there's going to be a huge change in the law system. Because at what point do you stop saying it's chemical reactions? Why just certain people is it chemical reactions? Of course, it's everyone, just chemical reactions happening.
That's
So,
like the jury that I did, the guy who was being convicted.
yeah.
It's like you're exposed, the individual or the body and mind mechanism is exposed to the same sets of conditioning throughout their lifetime. So they're gonna do the same thing unless they're exposed to something different. Then maybe they'll be conditioned to do something else. But it's like those sets of conditions are what led those actions or whatever happens. It's like the person didn't choose to do what they did; it just happened.
Yeah.
And I don't always do. Is there ever going to be? I mean, science can't really touch this because it can't really. You can't really understand it.
But I think there's a part of the scientific community that's beginning to realize that they can't ever understand
it. It can't be understood.
Yeah. So I was reading this quote recently, the scientist's quote the other day. It was really cool. It was really sweet.
Yeah, even with physics, it's like they're getting to a point where it's like, okay, well, we don't. Basically, there's nothing here. Like they're breaking down the atom and the subatom, and it's like, okay, well, apparently there's nothing here, but we can't understand that. So
yeah, but I think that it is coming out. It is appearing more and more in science that they can't get to an answer. You can never get to an answer. It's so cool. But maybe then they'll keep looking for an answer and they'll keep going and going.
And science is never consistent either. It's always changing, just like religion.
Yeah. What fun.
Crazy. So, I mean, when someone asks you, who are you, what do you respond?
Normally the response in everyday world would be Lisa. The body would reply.
If you're like talking to someone about this stuff.
It would be. You can't see my facial reactions, but it's unanswerable. I mean, it's just unanswerable. It's just big. It's. I mean.
That's your answer.
It's yeah, it really is. You can't name it. Even saying you can't name it, but it's so free. The nature of everything is so free. It was only ever language that limited everything, and then it became an energetical expression. Everything is free because it's not a thing. A thing is made up. There are no things.
It's crazy how people really think that they're, especially when I think one of the primary things that gets people to believe that they're this separate individual is the body.
Yeah.
Like they really believe that they're the body, but
that's the first thought. I am the body, and then they can describe the body in time, and then they keep repeating, "That's who I am, someone in time."
Yeah.
And that's the first illusion. But what seems to be happening now, which is so amazing, is I meet numerous of people or body-mind mechanisms where that's fallen away, and then intellectual thinking carries on, which is amazing. The body can still produce intellectual thinking, but there's no longer an identification with that. It's just a happening in freedom, which I meet so many body-mind mechanisms now that are absence of something, that have lost something. Even in language, it's so confusing because I say I, and who's that I? Who are we actually talking about? Right. I mean, it's just like and you could argue on both levels. You could argue on the body, or you could say nobody. But language really makes it confusing.
Especially because I did this too. I was doing the self-inquiry, and it's like it was saying you're not. There's no I that's willing the heart to beat or the blood to circulate in your body. It's just happening, and then you're just sitting there like, what's going on? Like, why is my heart beating? I'm not choosing to do this. It's just happening.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay, it's crazy.
Whereabouts in America are you, Julian?
Chicago.
Okay.
Have you ever been to the U.S.?
Yeah, many times. I studied in Sacramento for 6 months.
What did you study?
Anything I liked. I just did an exchange with my university, and they just said you can do anything. So I did. You have weird things on your curriculum in America, so I did like
Yeah, it's
volleyball,
really
bike
different. Here we have
riding.
to take like gen eds and stuff.
Yeah, I did all the silly ones. I did drumming. I did sewing. I learned how to sew.
Did you go to uni in England?
Yeah, in London. Yeah,
Okay.
so I did
Oh,
an
cool,
exchange for 6 months. It was fun.
Yeah, America's a lot different.
Yeah.
It's a lot different than Europe, especially France. France is like, I don't know, especially in the South, it's a lot more laid back. People aren't kind of chasing after money and jobs.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you. Thanks for answering the call.
My pleasure, Julian. Thanks for calling in. I always love speaking with people. It's much nicer live.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will talk to you later.
Thanks, Julian.
Bye.
Bye. So I'm just on Ustream. I don't normally answer questions on Ustream because if you're writing me questions on Ustream, you might notice that you can only write something like 10 words and then it cuts you off. So this is my Skype, and then in my Skype it's easier for me to see the questions. It gives me a nice number so I can work through them. So my Skype is Lisa Cairns 12, and I've just put that on the chat box. So I'll just quickly answer the ones that I've seen because I see them. Hi Ian. Hi Shannon. Shannon Van. Nope, can't do that, but Shannon. Hi Jeff. Hi another Shannon. Different Shannon. Oh no, maybe it's the same one. Hi Steve. Hi Anne, darling. Is this a random universe to which we bring me meaning? To which we bring meaning. There's not actually someone in there bringing meaning. There's words with energies appearing of meaning in them. So words appear, giving the appearance of meaning, and they come up so strongly that it makes it seem like they have truth to them. Then they disappear and there's no meaning again, and they're not there. But these words and these ideas always come with energies. Me, the world. But there's actually nobody seeing the world. There's just seeing happening. Just being happening. And no separation between the seeing and the seen. It's all one thing. So why are we talking about it? Well, who's the we that's talking about it? You think that you're the doer of your actions? You think there's somebody in the body doing action? How? How are you seeing? Who is seeing? How is hearing happening? How is speaking happening? How is typing happening? A story might be appearing, I am typing, I am speaking, which comes with feelings, but that's not true. Who? Who? Completely crazy. So why are we talking about it? Completely crazy making. Oh yeah, it is crazy. But we love it. We love the drunkenness. We love getting drunk and doing silly things. When we get drunk, we forget ourselves. When we make love, we forget ourselves. When we're crazy, we forget ourselves. So why are you using words to find it? I don't know. But I don't know if we are using words to find it. There's blah blah and blah blah. This blah blah is no different from tweet 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 of the birds outside. But this blah blah seems to have meaning. And then another thought comes up which seems to have meaning, saying, why are we using words to find it? Are we really using words to find it? Are we really doing anything? Rhiannon. Woohoo! Hi Lisa. I'm finally around and on the comp. When you are broadcasting, love this topic. Nice. So if anyone wants to call in, just call away. I might not be able to answer you straight away, so you might be silented for a while, but just call in whenever you feel like it. This is from JYM Daily. I was opened up by Adidar Samraj. A literal mind-blowing. A year or so later, I became a devotee and was opened up more times, but had that feeling of not being stable in it. We were shown how to be devotional, and now years later I am being opened up by Muji, and now I see the same thing in you and wondering about the seeming difference between devotional being and just being just being. Am I trying to get out of doing the practice or really seeing something else? I suppose I'm asking if this beingness, this I am, is truly absolute. What if it is a state appearing on a divine ground that could keep itself hidden to I amness? I suppose you mean a divine ground of awareness? Sometimes speakers split up awareness and then they say I am. Is that what you mean? So funny meaning, isn't it? When it all means fuck all. And I'm asking you what it means, what you mean. And then you say, and then I say, and you say, and I say, and none of it has any fucking meaning. Someone was having a right bitch the other day about how much I swear on these talks. Spiritual people shouldn't swear. Maybe awareness appears on this ground. I suppose I'm asking if this beingness, this I am, is truly absolute. What if a state appearing on a divine ground that could keep itself hidden to I amness? Maybe awareness appears on this ground. So you were not even saying awareness is the ground? That it's beyond even that. Well, you won't find the answer in thinking about it. The answer's in what's happening. True. But if your masters are so great, I'm not saying they're great or not great, but you seem to be very devoted to them, why do you still think that you're doing a devotional practice? That's a thought. Why is that not being questioned? Where does that thought come from? Who is that thought coming from? Hey, Kathleen.
Oh my goodness, hello.
Hey.
Wow.
But if your masters are so great, I'm not saying they're great or not great, but you seem to be very devoted to them, why do you still think that you're doing a devotional practice? That's a thought. Why is that not being questioned? You know that's not me, Kathleen. This one's me. Where does that thought come from? Who is that thought coming from?
Where are you coming from?
Hey, Kathleen. I'm this one.
My goodness, hello.
Hey. You have to turn the volume off of Ustream.
Ah. I understand.
It'll just get lost in a mirror effect.
Yeah, I was like, that was 20 seconds ago. But
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, it's sometimes longer. It's sometimes a minute or 2 minutes behind.
funny. Hello, thank you for having your presence available to everyone. How incredible.
Well, it's not my doing. It happens.
I'm curious about waking up with friends, or kind of, I mean, saying embarking on a spiritual journey is silly when you're just stuck in this what is this isness. And so I guess just interacting with friends and people, and like they're seeing it one way and you're seeing it another way, but you're all seeing the same thing. And I don't know if it's much of a question. What are your thoughts on that, maybe? Or maybe just continuing to put on the mask of Kathleen or Lisa, or for the convenience of everyone else.
What was the question?
Just like interacting with other people when there's no one there.
Yeah. The body still puts on a dance.
Yeah.
The body is highly unlikely if a question gets asked, you know. I'm trying to think of a question in which the body would lie to. Was the food that I gave you nice? And the body didn't enjoy it. It still might say yes. It's not found in the perfect actions of the body. Like, the body is always going to be a facade. Like, the programming of the body, or the chemicals in which the body, or the way in which the body is designed, is to be an animal. It's just like the animals, to survive and to reproduce. That's all it's set up to do. And being social is all about survival. So it's always going to be interacting with other humans on an investment level. So it's always going to be a bit of a facade in interacting with others. The body needs other humans to survive. Sorry to make it so unromantic.
No,
like, if you look at dogs or animals or ants, or if you always find the answer looking at animals. Like, it's all the human interacts because it's a social animal and it needs other animals to survive. So it's always going to be a bit of a facade. It's never going to be there's never going to be this, because you have this idea in spirituality that you'll get to a place where you're unconditioned and you're truly speaking or something, or you're speaking from the heart, and this is all just a lie. The body's just an animal surviving. It's like a tree growing, and if the tree needs to grow and kill another tree to grow higher, it will. Same with the human body. I'm sorry, I'm so unromantic. The body is all about survival and reproduction. It's no different from animals, from trees, from every other object you see. It's all about growth. And then when it gets to its maximum amount of growth, it begins to rot. That's really unromantic for the mind, though.
That's the way it is, though.
Yeah. Well, in a way. I mean, in another way, I've just told you a nice little story, and like, the only freedom there's no freedom in the body. The body is caged to survival. The body is caged to surviving, reproduction, and obviously eventually dying and turning into another object. The freedom is when it's no longer taken personally, and that identification stops claiming the actions and stops wanting to be something, and then it's just everything, which is nothing. Everything is no thing. Sorry, I'm so confusing sometimes.
No, this is good stuff.
You can re-listen to it in slow motion.
I'm a college student and took a religion class and then just fell in love with it and decided to minor in religion, and was recently, last semester, took a course on Zen Buddhism. And I go to a very ridiculously small school and know everyone by recognition, and I'm friends with my professor, and every Tuesday and Thursday we would just get into some talking, and pretty fun stuff. I don't know why we didn't meditate more, but I guess that just wasn't in the curriculum.
Oh, nice. And so from learning about Zen Buddhism, you began to learn about non-duality?
Yes, I think, yeah.
It's kind of really, really similar. Like, it's not really, Zen Buddhism is in a way non-duality.
Yes, I love learning about the tradition of Zen. I think it's really wonderful. And there's ups and downs in all traditions. And there's something you could say that you're every religion or no religion, and it'll be the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see the different styles that people point with, and how you could launch yourself there, and then the same with psychedelic drugs too.
Yeah.
There's an experience to be had.
Yeah.
Don't take it too seriously, and don't chase after it, because it's
Comes and
it's not
goes.
always it.
Yeah, appears and disappears.
Mhm.
Appears and disappears. Oh, nice. I meet so many young people now interested in these things in the West particularly.
Yeah.
So many young people.
Yeah. At my school alone, I feel like there's like a good, like, if I scooped my hand into a bucket and we were all fish, then I could grab out like a fatty fish that is just like represents all the people that are interested in this in my school, and it's really nice to be around. It's a great environment. We're all kind of feeding each other, and the two professors that our two religion professors just love it too, and so everyone's just feeding each other, and it's pretty great.
Oh, nice.
Or getting drunk off of each other. And
yeah. Nice. What fun.
Well, I don't think I have anything else to ask.
Well,
So
you're
I'll free the
always
line for anyone else.
you're always welcome to call back anytime.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kathleen. Nice to speak with you.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
It's so nice speaking with people. It was the instruction from the one who undid me every time I saw him or read his words, or he or appears to be everything. But why do you still think it's you doing it? You said, wait a minute, but now feeling. Fidocial being and just being I, am I, trying to get out of doing the practice or really seeing something else. Who could get out of practice? Who's doing the practice? The answer is always in the experience. JYM. Jim, I assume that is. Sorry, I'm not great with reading. Jim. It's always in what's happening. And there is nothing which is doing anything. There are no things. Everything is no thing. An awareness, I amness. I say amness often. I describe no thing as amness, but it all comes down to no thing. But you can't ever see no thing. There's nobody there to see it. There just is no thing. It's so funky, this stuff. Well, I thought I was, but now I know there is no me, but there is a fear of letting go of that special practice. Yeah. Well, I meet people often that are scared of letting go of practice, letting go of non-duality, like even letting go of these ideas. Because then where would they be, and what would be their meaning, and what would be their purpose? Purpose. But fear arises and then it disappears, just like everything. Appears, disappears, and at the same time, not really happening. Yes. What you barking at? Lucy. Lucy, what are you barking at? No, it's a puppy! Yes, oh, what have you got? What, two? It's a puppy! Hey, Jim, is it Jim?
Yeah, Jim is works.
You just need to turn the volume off Ustream. You've done that?
Yeah, done it now.
Very good. Now we can hear you. Well, if you don't turn it off, it will just repeat like a mirror.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
the Ustream's like 20, 30, maybe 40 seconds behind, so my facial reactions won't be in line with my speaking. It's a little confusing.
Yes, I'm seeing that now.
Yeah.
As if things weren't weird enough. Yeah, I just thought I'd better call. It might be better.
Yeah, it's easier speaking rather than keep writing sometimes.
Yeah.
Loses its flow.
Yeah, just well, that is weird with the time and the face and everything. Maybe I'll just listen.
Sorry?
Maybe I'll just listen. That's live, isn't it?
Sorry, you'll just listen what?
If I just listen and not look, it's not
Oh,
quite
yeah. Yeah, if you did small the screen, it's not so confusing, yeah.
Yeah, well, what's been happening is, I suppose, my first feeling of I amness was initiated by this person I was telling you about, Adidas Samraj, and that led me to look into him further, go and meet him, became a devotee, and he died maybe 6 years ago now, and I've been kind of looking at other things. Muji turned up, and then just this morning, which is strange that I'm talking to you now, but I found you kind of this morning and talking about the same thing, which is, that I amness or enlightenment, but of course of no one. So I'm just in that place of, can this be done? Is it okay not to be doing the devotional practice that Adida left me with?
The thing that I will always hammer on is I will keep coming back to who's practicing. I'm not saying that practice is right or wrong. If practice is happening, that's what's happening. But who is practicing? Who was the one that was doing that practice? Who woke up and chose to practice each morning or evening or lunchtime? Who did it? Because that's where the answer is. Not that there's an answer, but that's where the questions will stop. Who's doing that practice? What is the practice?
The practice is well, actually, it's funny because he says, "I will meditate you."
Oh.
Yeah. So he was doing the practice.
Up to 50% off. Prices are being slashed at Home Focus, Hickeys Fabrics, and online at homefocus.ie. Home event ends this weekend.
I'm just getting an advert.
Yeah, they're funny, eh? You can, next time you log on to Ustream, you can download something called Ad Blocker, which will stop the adverts.
50% off. Prices are being slashed at Home Focus, Hickeys Fabrics, and online at homefocus.ie. Home event ends this weekend.
You can't turn the volume off them or anything, and they're normally booming.
Yeah.
They wake you up. So it was like you would sit and then he would meditate for you?
Yeah, the idea was, I mean, I had kind of a time of seeking, looking into everything, but I had no discipline whatsoever, so nothing would last very long. So his practice was to just look at a picture of him and sit there, and he said, "I will meditate you," and that's what was kind of happening most of the time. But of course, there was the feeling that I had to make the effort to get in the room, even though I don't exist. And the practice was about getting rid of me even more. So it's that strange conversation, isn't it?
Yeah. It will happen or not happen, and neither is right or wrong.
Uh-huh.
It feels like you are thinking by saying, okay, so the thoughts will appear. I'm going to go and practice now. And then another thought goes and goes, oh no, let's go and have breakfast. And another thought, no, you must practice. You've got to do this. You said you would do this, or whatever is the thoughts are saying. The assumption is, and the energy is giving the appearance that there's actually somebody in those thoughts. But those thoughts are an appearance and creating the somebody. But how did they get thought? How did that all appear? Who did it appear from?
Habits.
That's a thought. Where did that appear from?
Just a reaction to the question.
That's a thought.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the truth. That's a thought.
How can I say the truth without thinking?
You can't.
Uh-huh.
You never found it in thoughts. The thoughts are an appearance.
Mm-hmm.
The truth isn't in the thoughts. Thoughts are words and sounds. It's like the sound of a bird, like the bird thinking it could find itself in its whistle. I'm in the whistle. I am the whistle.
Mm-hmm.
That's what thoughts are. They're sounds and energies appearing.
Yeah, when Adida would open me up, I would just end up in a really high energy state, laughing my head off, but crying the next second or something. But it was all very mindless. There wasn't any thought. But I suppose when thought came back, as that went down, I would kind of look for that again, I suppose. As kind of
and that's
pleasure.
just an experience that will come and go, just like the thoughts coming and going. That isn't it either.
Mm-hmm. I suppose I'm looking for it.
Yeah, and you are it without any effort. But practice will happen or not happen, and in a way you could say everything's practice and nothing's practice. You are never found in a description. The body acts and the words describe a body, but the body is something that's just appearing. But it's appearing in absolute boundlessness, in absolute freedom, in nothingness, which is everything. This is such a great subject, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the subject. So, I suppose there's just no conflict, really.
Conflict can appear, but you aren't found in conflict. There is no you. Oh, ultimately, there's no conflict, because conflict's a description. It's just what's happening.
Just people passing through. Appearing and disappearing.
Yeah, just like everything else.
Yeah. So yeah, this feeling of I amness is becoming more and more stable, I suppose.
No, this is a lie. This is thoughts. This isn't true.
Okay.
That's a thought. Is that true? How can sounds be a truth?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds are just sounds.
Well, there was a feeling before of this state, which is different or appeared different from...
That's not true, the feeling before. That's just a thought, a feeling before.
Uh-huh.
You can't speak about yourself. You can just describe the body. This has got nothing to do with the body. I don't believe the stories.
Yeah. Suppose I'm just looking for
You're looking
stuff
to describe.
to put
Yeah, you're looking to describe your experience. There is no experience.
Uh-huh.
This is hardcore non-duality. Most people want to keep telling the stories of who they are and their spiritual progress and where they're going, where they're going to get. All bullshit.
Yeah.
This is it. They're just sounds. It's like the bird taking seriously its tweets. A tweet, 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 tweet.
Yeah.
They're just there for practical use thoughts. They're not describing somebody. They're just describing the body for practicality. The body wants to eat.
Yeah.
The body wants to da-da-da-da. There's no you that's awakening.
Awakening just is.
The just isness. Yeah, or awakenings just is. I'm happy with that as well.
Okay, well, I'll sit with that.
You think you'll sit with that, but really it'll just be whatever is.
Yeah.
Oh, but very nice to talk with you. Your name's Jim?
Jim, yeah.
Jim. I was being a bit the J-Y-M, but Jim, yes.
Yeah, that was part of letting go of the personality. I was playing around with some friends with a Ouija board, and this spirit kept asking for me and using that spelling, so I thought, may as well take it on.
What's happening? Cool. Well, you can watch this back on YouTube. I know you're new to it, so it'll be on YouTube later, so you can watch it back. So you can actually see my speaking and my facial reactions in time.
Oh, great! Yeah, that might help. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I'll keep tuned in and.
Yeah, call
maybe.
back if you've got any more questions.
Yeah, excellent. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Phyllis!
Hi Lisa, what a glorious day Ches stands. The bliss blossoms here. Many thanks for the patient responses and practical silences for all questions which have arisen since I first heard your talks. Sent Stan an e-card for his birthday. Love and safe return to England. Oh, thanks, Phyllis. It was so nice. It was so much fun at Stan's. We had lovely weather, sitting outside, talking outside. It was really nice. Hi, Paul. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Paul. I get confused. Vienna still waits for you. Excited, Paul. Yeah, Paul's the organizer for the talks in Vienna, which is the beginning of June. I think the first or second weekend in June. I've got lots of new talks to announce in Holland for May. I'll be in Holland for the whole of May. So if you're Dutch, do look up my website, or Belgium or German on the border of Holland. Hi, Satya. Hi, Lisa. Question. Do you feel ready for everything that may happen to you in the future? No. I want to avoid the debate about this is all a series of now events, etc. The future maybe doesn't exist, but this talk will end just as everything else will end. So each separate moment passes into the next. So I'm asking if you feel you're able to deal with whatever the next moment might happen to be. No, I don't. There's not somebody in here that's preparing itself for the next moment or trying to avoid something. It's just what's happening. And life is messy. Life, the appearance of forms is constantly one form turning into another, so it's always going to be messy. Like, it's the money's going to come, the money's going to go, there's going to be food, there's going to be no food, the lovers will come, the lovers will go, the beauty will come, the beauty will go, the house will come, the house will go, the kids will come, the kids will go, the dogs will come, the dogs will go. That's it. It's messy. But it's just what's happening. But what do you want from that question? What is she really wanting? More than likely, what the mind is saying liberation is being prepared to accept everything. But this is all there is. You don't need to accept everything that might potentially happen in the future. If there's fear arising. If there's discomfort arising. If there's joy arising. Couldn't be any other way. That effort to try and change any of it is ridiculous. And this is all going to end badly in terms of the body. The body's going to... Everybody will turn into another thing. But there really aren't any bodies anyway. Everything is not a thing. It's one. Bizarre. I'm now being persuaded to buy some Clark's shoes in the middle of you describing the truth. Oh my God, I love that though. It's like watching an episode of The Simpsons. You know, with The Simpsons, you start with The Simpsons. What I like about storytelling is when you get these stories which start here and they kind of like go boom and end up there. It's like talking about the truth, and then buying Clark's shoes, or eating a Marks and Spencer sandwich and then reading the ingredients. It's all it. And it's so crazily funny and silly. And all the other things it is, wherever it is appearing. But that's really sweet because it's so particular, Clark's shoes. No, because you're imagining that there's somebody inside of this body. So you say, sounds like you're ready for more mess as it comes round. So you are without fear, loss, etc. No, it's not that I'm ready for it. The you could never be ready for it. The you is resistance. The personal is resistance. It's just an absence of trying this person that's trying to manipulate it anymore. It happens as it happens. So it's not me ready for it. You could maybe describe the body's not got somebody in it that's in resistance anymore. So you could maybe describe the body, but that's not a separate entity, the description of the body. There's no separate entities. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be exploding your brain right now. What the hell is she saying? The shoe ladies look like they are in touch with something really lovely. Yeah, they're like, this is it. A shoe. I'll just wait for you. So how to reprogram away from this reflex of it's happening to me? Well, let me tell you. That's a programming as well, the idea that you could reprogram yourself. That's just an idea as well. I bet you wear Clark's shoes, you look so happy. I do have a pair of Clark's shoes. I shall show you. Ta-da! Oops, a little bit muddy. Oh, not so clean. Dung, 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 da, dung. I'm now going to write to Clark's and get them to pay me for some advertisements. How random is it all? A foot, a shoe. And just to make it odder, I shall put a story in there, which makes it even more like a Simpsons. The Simpsons. As my aunt bought them for me for Christmas, I think. My aunt bought me a pair of Clark's shoes for the birthday of Christ. Hi, Diego. He says he enjoyed watching Monday's talk with you and Paul. Yeah, it was nice. It's a nice combination. Oh, who was I just talking to? Satya. Classy stuff. Advertising obviously works. Fun. You can't reprogram yourself. You is a program. It's like the computer game, the character in the computer game asking how to reprogram itself. It is a program. But that's scary because who would you be without hope? Okay, William Flynn. Flynn. I apologize for the forward instruction. I had a sudden impulse to share my artwork with you. This will end my unsolicited communication. Accept. Oh, wow. That's really beautiful. Let me make it up bigger. Oh, wow. That's lovely. I meet so many amazing artists. This is all done with pencil? So, reprogramming bad language to describe, but somehow wanting to shift out of me-ness and into experience. That's the person looking at it in an upside down manner. It's looking at liberation as something in the future that it can get, and it getting to this liberation which will be pleasurable, and it's kind of a warped way of looking at it. But if you begin to listen to this, then it challenges your hope that's in that story of you getting somewhere, of you getting to pleasure. It challenges ultimately the person that will get anywhere, who thinks it's going somewhere. Hi, Juna. Can you say something about the experience that there is nothing happening even while everything is happening? How is that possible? Well, firstly, show me a thing, Juna. Then we'll start talking about everything happening. I want a thing, one solid thing that never changes, one thing. There's just one thing. It's not made up of other things. It's just one thing that's solid and never changes. Then when you've brought me a thing, then we'll talk about things. Tony. Right, Tony. From Greece. Tony. I can't do a Greek accent. Lisa, what about compassion? What about compassion? Is it not somewhat dismissive to reject everyone's problems, even though they seem as an illusion from your perspective? How would you know? That's uncompassionate. It hurts you, so you call it uncompassionate. What about me? Me getting attention, me getting love and support from her. How do you know not dismissing of that is the most compassionate thing in the world? But to talk about compassion, besides from talking about that little story, compassion implies separation, that there's somebody here that could be any different from what it's being. There's a separate thing here, acting independently from all other things. There's a separate voice and a separate hearing. Non-duality points to oneness. But more than likely the person that's lost in stories doesn't want to hear this. It's programmed to be something special and different and stand out, even if that specialness is being a victim or having problems. Or from the perspective of truth, if you will. What truth? Show me truth. When identification is happening, suffering is absolutely real, and to me, compassion is willingness to dive into someone's pain. Okay, Tony. To be vulnerable, open and caring for the person suffering. Please comment. Well, you got a big fart. It's all storyland. That's what you think. You have no idea what compassion and niceness is. No idea. Anything you think is just what you think. How do you know what's right and wrong? You've learnt this from another teacher? But you're not going to like this, because what everyone wants is validation, that they are separate. It's just a thought. Well, compassion is the willingness to dive into someone's pain. How do you know that? But you won't want to hear this. I'm sure Tony's face is something like this at the moment. And wants to tell Lisa off. I'm sure this is burning, and so the Tony character will then want to make that burning justified. It's her fault. If this is oneness, what is separate? Who's acting compassionately? Who?
Me.
Hi, Lisa. Something smells so nice. Hi, Lisa. My experience of totality, God, nothingness, left an impression that there cannot exist this state, experience, and at the same time, common, ordinary experience state of consciousness. One Christian mystic said that God is a jealous lover. How this can be explained or may be pointed by metaphor approximation. How is it that what you call appearances exist, so to say, encapsulated in God? Sorry for my texting, but my speaking English is even worse than this written. I don't know, it's not making any sense, or it's not touching anything here, what you say. Maybe you can write something else and a response will come. Hi, Lars. Hi, Derek. I'm feeling like my questions are useless and boring, so thank you for tolerating them. Sometimes I hear you say things like, this is just what's happening now, or this is drinking tea, or the dog barking, or whatever. What do you mean? Nothing. Nothing means anything, Derek. It just sounds appearing. Because it seems like this is all there is, and what appears to be tea or dog barking is really just this. There only appears to be tea and a dog barking and other separate things to me. So, in other words, this is only ever just this, or am I missing something? Heart. No, you're right. Basically, whenever I speak and try to describe this, I'm not describing this. I'm trying to point to what actually is. So, although I'm saying tea, there is no tea there. But I'm trying to point to it. This was supposed to be a heart, just sending you some love. Yeah. So basically, it's just me trying to point to what's happening, dog barking, bum on seat, but it's ultimately not bum on seat or dog barking, and it's not ultimately this. So you can't even say it's this. Hi, Stan. I hear it's Stan's birthday today. Send him a huge kiss. A triple kisser. Oh no, that's lipstick. We had the nicest time at Stan's in Belgium. The nicest time. Hi, Suseth. Hi again, Lisa. Words label concepts which are all thoughts. Do they need a body-brain to appear in? Well, what's the actual experience? Because that's a thought that they're appearing in the brain now. Actually, they're just appearing and you can't find the location of them. Is that why we cannot communicate with apparent beings without a functional body-brain? Do you have any experience communicating with anybody or anything that doesn't have a body-brain? Thank you for sharing the wisdom. Sorry I can't call in today. I am in a library. I admit. There are no bodies and brains. There are none. I really can't answer much to this. I mean, the brain is a functioning, just like the skin is a functioning. If there was no skin, the blood would fall out. So the brain is a functioning, and it contains intelligence, so it seems like thoughts are being produced in the brain. But who's producing the brain, then? That's the question. The brain isn't the source of everything. But injury to the apparent other brains can make them lose the ability to communicate. But then the question is who's communicating? And is there ever communicating happening? We think we're communicating, we think we understand, we think we have meaning. These are sounds which we give a meaning to, and then we take them as truth. Some argue the consciousness is a product of the brain. I don't know all this stuff, but I wouldn't say that consciousness is the root of everything. I just go with that because other speakers say the word consciousness. I rarely use the word consciousness, but I do go with it a bit because others do, and it makes this easy to explain if you say consciousness. And you get different speakers that say, you know, awareness is produced by the brain, and then there's the impersonal consciousness. There is energy expressing itself. There is an energetical expression, which is nothing. It's not a thing. Yet all the things we think we see are it. So there's really nothing happening. I personally think that the point of consciousness is a little bit confusing. But I understand why speakers talk about it, because you can begin to see the impersonality of this if you say everything is consciousness or awareness. But that's really tripe at the end of the day. There is no evidence to support this theory or against it. You know, you really should speak to a friend of mine who does these talks called Paul Smith. Sorry, Lise, for this line of questioning. I'm not trying to prove a point. No, I don't think you're trying to prove a point. But trying to get over a concept I have subscribed to. Yeah, I really get that sense with you, Sissist, that you've got a very intelligent mind. And I don't feel like you're... But my friend's very much into the science of this. And I really don't know much about the science of this. But he would be able to answer these questions like tick, 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 from a scientific perspective. His name's Paul Smith. I'll just write it to you. Because the mind can get stuck on so many different things. None of them being true. But what about if you exchange the word consciousness for energy, the expression of energy, And so if everything is an expression of energy, there is no thing happening. And in the experience, right here, there is nothing happening, yet there seems to be movement, but this movement is nothing. So when those thoughts begin to crumble and they get challenged, this becomes so obvious, but not for someone. Oh my goodness. How to speak about this? Oh no, he doesn't reply to emails. You'd have to log into one of his live talks. But you're right, actually. Hang on, just let me send you his website. And from this website, you'll have to find the English version of it. And maybe when I'm doing a talk with him, or you can find some of his talks which are talking about the science side of it. He's mostly talking about the science side of it. I think he's just had some books translated into English. So I should now write to him and get payment for advertisement from him. All these things I advertise. Anyway, I'll move on to Sith, but please feel free to ask me these questions anytime you like, and you can send me an email and I'll do it again on Sunday. But I'll just move in because I've not got much time left and I've just got a few more questions to answer. Hi Lisa, did you get a chance to read the question I sent the other day during your talk? I have no idea. Was it this one? Let me try again. Sorry if you received multiple messages. I have to run now. Oh yeah. Yeah, I did read this. But I have no idea in which one I did read it. Long time. It took a long time, but finally realised it is not in my hands. Was never in my hands. Ah, Mitt. Nice. There is nothing to know and nothing to understand, and all this time. Lolo. Oh, nice. Nice, Amit. It's not about you. Hi, Lisa. You look like Julia Roberts sometimes. Nice. The body likes that. Matt. Hi, Matt. Hi, Lisa. Hope you're well. Recently, life has been pretty simple, just happening. Then someone said I seem to lack motivation. I guess because a lot of drama is done. That triggered some thoughts that maybe I am simply lazy rather than living simply. Is this something that seems familiar to you? A feeling of just being until something happens or something moves, then just being again. Not sure if that makes sense. Probably easier to say than write about. Matt. How funny. Yeah, that's just a thought. That really is. What does it matter, laziness or not laziness? If laziness is happening, that's what's happening. Lack of motivation. I mean, where's there to get to? But it will arise when it needs to. Your talks with Paul and Neville are also on his website. Yeah. I will wait till you and Paul do a combined talk again. Thank you. You just said the same. Yeah. I mean, we do say the same, both of us, but he speaks with a lot of scientists, so he has nice responses about it. Do you get Jan done? Oh no, that's it. So that's it. I think there's loads of questions on Ustream. Hi Lisa, Skype not working, so tuned in to Ustream. Good to see you. Hi Jackie. Paulie Paul 35. The ads wake who up? Catty did. Thanks. Paulie Paul. Great show talking about nothing and everything. Mansoor Poulan. Lisa, can we understand oneness beyond the forms and appearances of me and you? What? Can we understand oneness beyond the forms and appearances of me and you? You can never understand oneness. Understanding is something that arises in oneness. Having said that, I like me now. Me too, Chicago. Lisa Cairns 12. I am losing myself on a daily basis. I'm not free. I have to live in this world. The body will never be free. The body is destined to move towards survival. But what? That one that believes it's separate and is the body can die. And then there's just freedom. But the body is destined to live, to rot, grow old, whatever it is. Experience great ecstasy and joys and whatever. Hi Lisa, can I speak to you on your mobile phone? Conrad. Yeah, you can call Conrad if you're still there. One quick question, last question. You might have called an hour ago. I think I was oopsie. Oh, he's not calling. So that's that. This is it. What is this? So much love, and the next talk is on Sunday. I suppose I should do some advertisement, shouldn't I? Shouldn't I? My friend always laughs. Lisa, you're so shit at business. You do the advertisements at the end and everyone just tunes off. Just do them at the beginning. Okay, so this Saturday, the 26th of April, let's just make sure that's a Saturday. The 26th, we got a talk in Bristol at 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. So, it's nice. Then the weekend after that, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, we got talks in Paris. So very nice again. This is all on my website. People always get confused on my website. You can click on each event to find out more information. I'm going to click on them. You'll write to me asking me for more information. It is on there if you click on the event. Then in June, the 6th to the 8th, we've got talks in Vienna, Austria. But in between the May and the in between Paris and Vienna, I've got lots of talks in Holland, but I just haven't updated my website yet. And those talks are with Paul Smith. So they're on Paul Smith's website, but mine's not updated yet. I will put them on there when I put them on there. So then on the 17th of June, this is a really cool event. This is in Greece, Pelican, for a whole week at a community that's already set up there. And it's really well priced. You can share a room and get food included and 2.5 hours of non-duality talks, or maybe 3.5, I can't remember how many it is, maybe 3 hours of non-duality talks a day for something like, the cheapest one is maybe €350. And then if you want your own single room and luxury, then I think it's all quite luxurious, but if you want single room, your own ensuite bathroom, great views, I think it goes up to €600 for a whole week. And it's apparently very beautiful. So that's I think it's €325 to 600. So that's June the 17th to June the 24th. Then July 4th to 6th, there's Amsterdam, Holland. So July 4th to the 6th. And then I think I've got some other talks in the south of France and lots of other things coming up, but that's just where I've advertised to at the moment. So you can keep looking on my website for other talks. What else? Oh yeah, nothing. Okay. Thanks, guys. And so the next online talk is on Sunday at 5 p.m. GMT. I know in GMT time, we're no longer BST, British Summer Time. Okay. Bye.